Those who have just Salah requested to come closer. In the gaps. Inshallah, this will be a discussion. At the same time, we'll have a PowerPoint on the screen as well, so we can visually see the information and we can benefit, inshallah. A link has also been shared on the WhatsApp group, so brothers, especially sisters who are home, they can benefit as well, inshallah. And the screen is also being live streamed as well for them to see. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي ونسلم على رسوله الكريم الحمد لله وكفى والصلاة والسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين أما بعد قال الله سبحانه وتعالى في كلام المجيد بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون وقال تعالى شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن هدى للناس وبينات من الهدى والفرقان صدق الله العظيم وقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم الصيام جنة وقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال الله عز وجل الصيام لي وأنا أجزي به وقال عليه الصلاة والسلام للصائم فرحتان فرحة عند الفطور وفرحة عند لقاء ربه صدق الله العظيم وصدق رسوله النبي الأمي الكريم اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد أما بعد Alhamdulillah, we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has allowed us to come so close to the blessed month of Ramadan. Tonight, after Maghrib, the 29th of Sha'ban has begun, and tomorrow will be the day of the 29th of Sha'ban. This is known as Yawm Shak, the day of doubt, because possibly Ramadan could be tomorrow night, could begin. So after Maghrib, tomorrow we will start hearing news, receiving messages whether Ramadan has begun for us or not. We will not get into the issue of moon sighting. That is a long-winded debate, and there are several positions and opinions. But rather, we should be concerned at this present moment, are we prepared for the month of Ramadan? What is this month coming for? What does it bring? And how can we take? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in the Quran that, O you who believe, Allah has made fasting compulsory fard upon you, like Allah made it fard upon those before you. The people before, they would fast not a full month, but rather one day in the year was fard upon them, the 10th of Muharram, the day of Ashura. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is so merciful for us, towards us, that He has given us a complete month, that it is fard upon those able to fast, to fast. Those who have the ability to fast, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala orders us to fast. And the outcome of fasting is لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ, in order for you to gain taqwa. Now taqwa is a very important quality for us to gain, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala begins Surah Al-Baqarah and tells us that this Quran is هُدًى لِلْمُتَّقِينَ, a means of guidance for those people who have taqwa. So we see, subhanallah, if we fast properly, observing the etiquettes of fasting and the rules of fasting, then we will gain taqwa. If we gain taqwa, then we will be able to unlock the guidance in the Quran for us. That's why we fast properly throughout the day, At night we stand before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Taraweeh, listening to the Quran or reciting the Quran. Inshallah, we are increasing daily in our guidance and closeness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is, subhanAllah, connected, very deep connection of Quran and fasting with the month of Ramadan. Fasting during the day, Quran, standing with Quran during the night, they come together, and inshallah this brings us closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the month of Ramadan was a month wherein the famous story and incident where we hear the Prophet ﷺ was in the cave of Hira on the Mount of Nur, where Jibreel alayhi came and brought the first verses of Surah Al-Alaq. اقرأ باسم ربك الذي خلق خلق الإنسان من علق اقرأ وربك الأكرم الذي علم بالقلم علم الإنسان ما لم يعلم. These first 5 ayat of Surah Al-Alaq was the first revelation to come to the Prophet ﷺ. This happened in the month of Ramadan. Allah mentions that the month of Ramadan was the month wherein Allah revealed the Quran to the Prophet ﷺ. Meaning revelation began from here. We know after this 23 years it took for the entire Quran bit by bit to come to the Prophet ﷺ. Number one. Also the Quran, when it was revealed from Lawhul Mahfuz by the Arsh of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to the Sama'ud Dunyawi, the first sky which is above our earth. This happened on Laylatul Qadr all at once. From there, bit by bit, Jibreel ﷺ brought it to the Prophet ﷺ over the period of 23 years. So Quran is deep rooted and connected with Ramadan and fasting. When we do it properly, we will unlock the guidance in the Quran. So today's session is mainly about the fiqh of fasting, the rules of fasting. What is fasting? What is the purpose of fasting? How do we observe the fast? What breaks the fast? What should we stay away from in fasting? And some general questions people ask. People ask many questions. For example, does my inhaler break my fast? Does an injection break the fast? If I vomit, does it break my fast? If I miss suhoor, does my fast count? These things, people have many questions. So inshallah, we will discuss many common questions, frequently asked questions towards the end as well, inshallah. Maulana? Bismillah. So in today's contents, we begin with the definition of what is fasting. Intention. Intention is very important, of when and how and what intention we make. Those things which are recommended mustahab in fasting, those things which are makruh, disliked, those things which break our fast, and there are some things which are non-invalidators, some things don't break our fast. Some people might think they break the fast, but they might not. And then frequently ask questions. And then those who are exempt, so some people might be old or ill, or mothers who are breastfeeding their children, for example. All of these are reasons Islam gives us where fasting is, you're excused not to fast. So we begin with the definition of fasting. What is the dictionary meaning of fasting and who has to fast? This is a question. What is the meaning of fasting? So I might ask some people as well. So make sure we are awake as well throughout the session, inshallah. Anyone describe what is fasting? What we know, what is the definition of fasting? To refrain, to abstain, okay? Any other answers that we might think is appropriate? Yes.
Not eating from sunrise to sunset.
So, not eating, not from sunrise, because before sunrise. From dawn to dusk, you can say, is a better way of putting that. Yeah, to not to eat, to abstain. Who has to fast as well? So who has to fast? Does everyone have to fast? Everyone? Young children as well? Sorry? Everyone who is able, yes. And even with ability, for example, a young child might be able, but it might not be necessary for them to fast, who is not mature. So, what is fasting? We begin with. Fasting literally means to abstain, imsak, like Brother Qasim said. In Sharia, it means to abstain from dawn and abstain from what? Three things, three main things: food, anything you consume, anything we drink, and intimacy. Intimacy meaning fulfilling our desires, whether that may be in the halal manner between the husband and the wife, or whether someone might commit haram. So both things break the fast. Obviously, haram you should stay away from always. If someone was to fall into sin, that will still break the fast. And from what time? Between the time period of dawn, when the time of Fajr starts. So we stop eating before Fajr Salah begins, and our fast begins from Fajr Salah all the way until sunset, meaning all the way until Maghrib Salah begins. And our intention should be what? For a diet, or to lose weight. Yes, to get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Some people might fast because they want to give up some habits. Some people might smoke or other habits, want to give up habits, which is okay. We can have this as a secondary intention, not the first intention. Because if a person, there many people nowadays have intermittent fasting. Yeah, people who have these diets and athletes and things, they fast as well for many hours. So they might be doing it for a physical reason and a benefit. But they are getting no thawab, no reward by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because the niyyah isn't for ajr for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So as a Muslim, everything we do is for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yes, after that secondary, many other benefits through our ibadah, through our worship, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us in this dunya and the akhirah. That is all secondary. So main thing is to gain the closeness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The second question is who must fast? So fasting in the month of Ramadan is obligatory fard for every adult, male or female, who is physically and mentally healthy and is not a traveler. This is the key thing. Who is can be physically able and mentally able as well to fast, and who is not a traveler. So if a person is traveling in Shari'i travel, a long journey, more than 48 surplus miles, then he has the option to fast or not to fast. It doesn't mean you shouldn't fast. If you can fast. You have the choice. And you will have to make up for that fast if you miss later on as well. But Islam, Shariat has given you leeway to miss them fast if you need to. So fasting is not fard on those children who are not baligh, who are not mature, who have not reached the age of puberty. So young children, they do not need to fast. But yes, it is a good habit, especially children who are like 9, 10, 11, reaching that age, and they have understanding to get them used to fasting. If it's a few days in the month, maybe on the weekends, maybe sometimes we have half fast. This is just to get them mentally and physically prepared to when they get baligh, when they get mature, then they will have to fast rather than being a burden for them. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has taught us this in Salah. From the age of 7, encourage them to perform Salah. From the age of 10, to command them. So before they even become baligh, they have the habit of Salah. Likewise, the habit of fasting as well to bring into our children. This is a good habit. Fasting is not fard on those who are considered insane. Insane meaning those people who don't have the mental capacity of understanding. It doesn't mean someone who is feeling a bit depressed or a bit down and my mental health isn't the greatest, because them problems are quite common in our society. That doesn't mean someone is suffering them things that no, we cannot fast. I don't feel like it today. Otherwise, that can be an excuse for many people today who might actually be able to fast. So, meaning those people who actually do not hold complete capacity of understanding and of their feelings and their thoughts and their physical ability as well. Fasting is not fard on those who have a debilitating illness deemed by a doctor that prevents them from fasting. So someone, they might need to take medication regular, might be a heart patient, or they might have diabetes, all of these things. We shouldn't jump to the conclusion, first of all, that I'm ill, I can't fast. Some people do this. We should actually ask the doctors and maybe adjust our diet and our routine from before Ramadan, a few weeks before, to prepare us when Ramadan comes, that how I can adjust myself, whether it's my sleep, whether it's my food. For example, I give you a simple example. Some people drink lots of tea throughout the day or coffee. Yeah, like after every salah or after every before salah, they have to have a cup of tea or coffee. Without that one tea or coffee, they have a headache. Yeah. So from before Ramadan, prepare yourself. Otherwise, when Ramadan comes, the first fast, these people who are addicted to caffeine or even smoking as well, then they find it very difficult, very, very difficult, especially long fast, they find it very difficult. But they can't say that I'm addicted to, I can't live without caffeine or nicotine, that I can't fast now, because that's not a necessity. We have to prepare ourselves from before. We have to prepare ourselves from before, cutting down on certain things, that fasting is made easy for us. For example, some people, might find it hard to stay awake at night, and now they want to perform Taraweeh Salah. So before Ramadan comes, start to get your body clock, change it slightly. Have an afternoon nap, for example. Change your body clock or your routine slightly. And inshallah, when Ramadan comes, it's easy for us to fall into that routine as well. So such an illness that a doctor is saying that by you fasting is going to deteriorate your health. You cannot fast. Yes. And even then, some people might have the want and the intention to fast, especially some elder people who have never missed fasting. They say, no, no, we have to fast. So what we can do is at the beginning of Ramadan to start fasting, see how it goes, how it feels, and adjust your routine. Sometimes you might get a headache, but if you sleep, you might feel better after the headache. But if you out, enjoying yourself with your friends and family and other things, keeping yourself busy, then it might be difficult for you. So sometimes we have to bring these things into our life to make adjustments. Second point was intention. What intention should we make? When should we make our intention as well? Very important. When should we make our intention? And on here it says Rahwat al Qudra. It's a terminology which some of you might be aware of, but we will discuss this as well, inshallah. So the intention and fasting. General principle is intention has to be made before each fast for it to count. Intention, for example, Salah, we perform Isha Salah now. We have to make intention for Isha Salah before Isha Salah for it to be correct. We can't make for tomorrow, we can't make for yesterday, we have to do for that action there and then. Now, if I make an intention today that tomorrow I'm going to perform Isha Salah, and tomorrow I'm in the masjid, I happen to be in the masjid at Isha time, I don't make no intention while you stand up and start performing Salah without any intention. Today's intention won't be enough for tomorrow. I have to make a specific intention. Yes, it is necessary to make an intention every day. So intention doesn't necessarily mean I have to say the kalimat and the words on my tongue. Some timetables you see on the side, they have a dua. وَبِصَوْمِ غَدٍ, in the way to inshallah, like this, it has a dua that tomorrow I intend to fast. Which is fine, you can do that. But if you don't do that, you don't know this dua, you don't know the intention, it's okay. Intention is in the heart. So for example, a person going to sleep early, putting his alarm on that I'm going to wake up for suhoor, this is intention as well. Person coming for Salatul Taraweeh, and inshallah tomorrow I'm going to fast, it's an intention as well. Whether he wakes up or not, that's a different issue. He might miss his suhoor, wake up at Fajr time or later, but he had an intention in the heart from the night, from beforehand, that is sufficient. So if a person stays away from all those things that break one's fast without an intention, the fast will not be valid. You might begin the day not eating, not drinking, and not doing anything that breaks the fast. He doesn't have an intention, it doesn't mean he's fasting. He has to have that intention. The niyyah is very important. If you do not have the niyyah, then when can you make the niyyah? That's another question. That's the next bit we'll come to. Until when can I make my niyyah? For example, I wake up today or tomorrow morning, I wake up, I don't have breakfast, and I think, you know what, it's not long till Maghrib. I'll fast today. So when can you make your niyyah from? For that day to be classed as fasting. So we'll discuss that as well. So when to make intention? The time for intention starts from Maghrib of the night before. So from now we can make intention to fast tomorrow. By the way, fasting tomorrow is makruh. Yawmu Shak, the 29th of Sha'ban, the Prophet ﷺ has told us not to fast, unless it's a habit for you to fast. The reason being is someone might fast thinking, okay, it might be Ramadan, and I will fast that if it's Ramadan, my fast will be included in Ramadan. So this is not allowed. This is makruh. The Prophet ﷺ has told us to stay away from fasting on the 29th of Sha'ban. So don't make intention now to fast tomorrow. A time for intention starts from Maghrib of the night before and lasts until Dhahwatul Kubra. Dhahwatul Kubra is midday. Some of you might be new to this terminology of Dhahwatul Kubra. Sometimes in our calendars, when you go to like Pakistan or Arab countries, on there it says Dhahwatul Kubra. Some of you might have noticed if you go to our countries, on the calendars there, on the timetables, even throughout the year, Dhahwatul Kubra is written, some places. So it means midday. Midday doesn't mean afternoon, meaning 12 p.m., noon. It doesn't mean noon. 12 p.m., it doesn't mean noon. It means the time between sunrise and sunset, the middle point, that is midday. That is midday. So, example he gives, Ahmad wants to fast on Tuesday. And when can he make his fast? Intention for his fast. So, for example, Monday after Maghrib, he can begin making his intention. Tuesday begins, Fajr Salah, he can make his intention. Any time before Dhahwatul Kubra. Dhahwatul Kubra is before Dhuhr Salah. Before the midday point, he can make intention. But after midday, he cannot make intention. After midday, he cannot make intention. So, for example, you wake up, you don't eat, you don't do anything that breaks the fast, and it's past the Dhuhr time. It's past midday, and you think, I'm going to fast now. We cannot fast because most of the day has gone. So majority of your day has to have the intention of fasting. So any time before midday would mean that the majority part of that day you have intended to fast and you have abstained from those things which break your fast. Inshallah, your fast will be done.
And sorry, I know we're talking specifically about Ramzan, right? But that's obviously the case for any.
Yes, any fast, yes. So Dhahwatul Kubra, what is it? It's the exact midday. Yeah. It's a time between the beginning of Fajr time, sorry, not sunrise, from dawn and the beginning of Maghrib time, sunset. So between the hours of fasting, what is the midpoint? Gives an example. Imagine Fajr starts at 4 a.m. And Maghrib is at 9 p.m. Fajr is at 4 a.m. and Maghrib is at 9 p.m. So the midday of that, so the whole time is 17 hours. And the exact half of that will be 8.5 hours. So add 8.5 to 4, you have 12:30. So 12:30 will be midday for that day. So every day you'll see it fluctuate, maybe a few minutes difference. So any time before that midday period, your intention can be made. Any time after that, and that day has gone of fasting. Therefore, Dhahwatul Kubra midday is 12:30 p.m. Even though noon is 12 o'clock. So question, Ahmad, he woke up, he partook in suhoor. However, he forgot to make intention. Will his fast be valid? He did suhoor, but he didn't make intention to fast. Is his fast okay or not?
He hasn't made intention,
So will his fast be okay or not?
so he has to then make intention before midday.
Before midday. So if he has the intention, yes. Ahmad woke up to partake in suhoor. However, he forgot to make intention. Will his fast be valid? Yes, it will suffice as intention, like brother said. Him waking up for suhoor is the intention. So intention doesn't necessarily need to be on the tongue, in the heart, because you wouldn't be eating breakfast at that time unless unless that's your habit. If it's your habit to have breakfast at that time, then it's different. But usually people don't have breakfast at that time. If you're waking up at that time and eating, then that generally means indicating that you have intention to fast. So we've talked about what is fasting definition and the intention. We move on to the mustahab. Mustahab meaning those things which are desirable during fasting. These are some sunnahs that Prophet ﷺ has told us. We have learned from the Sahaba radiallahu anhum. Abu Darda radiallahu ta'ala anhu reports that the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, three things are from the characteristics of the prophethood. Meaning all the Anbiya alayhi salatu wasallam, these three things are from their sunnah. Number one, to open the fast, to hasten to open the fast. So when Maghrib time happens, don't delay. Don't delay. Some people might delay thinking, I'm getting more ajr. This is not the case. To open when the time is to open. Even if it's to have a bit of water, or one date or two, something. To have something at the time of Maghrib, this is from the sunnah of the Anbiya, all the prophets, not just the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Number two, to delay suhoor, the pre-dawn meal. So some people, they have the suhoor maybe after Isha, after Taraweeh, and go to sleep and think we'll wake up at Fajr time, maybe towards sunrise, and then we will read. That's fine, your intention is done, you've ate, it's allowed, but it is recommended, good for you to wake up and to have suhoor before Fajr. Before Fajr time starts, a little before then. We know from the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, the Sahaba mentioned, the Prophet ﷺ stopped eating that amount of time where a person could read 50 ayat of the Quran before Fajr time, before Fajr adhans happened. So we shouldn't even eat all the way until Fajr start time. Some people do this, and then what happens? Then they're like, oh, what time is Fajr time? And then they put their own fast into doubt. So this is why usually on the calendars we have a suhoor and sahri end time and a Fajr start time. So we cut off before that period. Normally it's 5 to 10 minutes. We cut off before that period, and we written this on our timetable specifically so our salah is correct and our fasting is correct as well. We should be mindful of this. The Prophet ﷺ stopped the period you could read 50 ayat of the Quran, so maybe 5-10 minutes or so before. This is the second sunnah of all the Prophets. The third sunnah is to place the right hand over the left hand in salah. So in salah, we put the right hand over the left hand. This is from the sunnah of all the Anbiya alayhi salatu wassalam. Zayd bin Sabit anhu relates that the Prophet ﷺ would stand up to offer salah after eating his food. He would offer salah after eating his food, and the timing between the start of Fajr and when the Prophet ﷺ would stop eating was equivalent to recitation of 50 verses, like we've said just now. So the Prophet ﷺ didn't go all the way until Fajr Adhan, rather he would cut off a bit earlier than that. Recommended acts. Based on the hadith mentioned previously, to partake in suhoor, number one is a sunnah. The Prophet ﷺ also said, Allah and His angels send blessings on those people who partake in suhoor. Another thing, I'm not sure if it's mentioned here, but usually we have dates, tamar, khujur at the time of breaking our fast. It's also sunnah to have that at suhoor as well. Usually we don't do this. We'll have roti, salan or biryani or last night's leftover iftar or bowl of cereal or whatever. But the Prophet ﷺ had dates. And subhanAllah, dates, even scientifically, is proven that it's a slow release glucose in your system, that throughout the day your energy levels are kept high as well. To break the fast immediately at the time of Maghrib. Another recommended act is to make intention at night. So to make the intention at night, this is also from the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, meaning before sleeping. The best item to break the fast. Sayyidina Anas radiallahu ta'ala anhu reported that the Prophet ﷺ would break the fast with fresh dates before performing salah. So now we learn the Prophet ﷺ broke his fast, then he performed salah. This doesn't mean that we delay Maghrib salah 15-20 minutes, half an hour, and we have a full 3-course meal, and then all our burps come out, and then we perform Maghrib salah. But rather, we break the fast, that hunger has gone, we are satisfied for the moment, we perform salah, then inshallah we can come back and have our meal after that, usually what people do. If there were no fresh dates, then he would break the fast with dried dates. And if there were no dried dates, then he would take a few sips of water. So we see water as well the Prophet ﷺ had at the time of iftar. What are the makruh, disliked acts during fasting? Number one, the detestable actions, makruh actions, to chew gum, rubber, plastic items, other such things. So the chewing gum we have nowadays, that we have flavor and they have other things within there. So if we swallow that, then our fast is broken completely. But this is gum, you can say, without any taste or flavor. If someone just chewing some sort of a plastic or a rubber item that has nothing which comes out of it, it's just your saliva in your mouth, your own spit, and it's just that item you're chewing on. You know, people chew on pens and other things. So this is makruh during fasting, because then your mind plays on hunger, and people, their nafs and their mind could go towards, should I break my fast now or not? And some people do this or do these kind of actions to kind of satisfy their hunger as well, which is makruh as well. Second is to collect one's saliva in the mouth and then swallow it, trying to quench the thirst. So here the fasts aren't as long, 13 to 14 hours this year, and it's not very hot as well. So in other countries where it's long fast, it's hot, and people are working midday and things, it's difficult. I mean, even normally we don't really feel what is actually classed as thirsty. Yeah, maybe after a game of football or at the gym or something, we might feel a bit thirsty. But generally, day to day, we have enough fluids in our body. We don't feel dehydration or anything. But to collect your saliva in your mouth and then swallow it Your fast will not break, but it will be makruh, especially if you have the intention to try and quench your thirst. Number 3, to delay a bath, a ghusl that has become obligatory intentionally until after Fajr time. So meaning if at the night someone, whether husband or wife meet, or whether a person goes to sleep and wakes up and he has to do a fard ghusl, he has to make ghusl, he has to make the fard bath, but he delays this until Fajr time starts. This is also makruh. You can do this, but it's makruh. It's better for you to come into the state of fasting where you are spiritually clean as well. You are not in the state of impurity. Now you might ask a question: if someone wakes up late and he's already in that state, so it will not affect his fast. As long as he doesn't do anything in the state of fasting or the time of fasting that affects the fast, it won't affect his fast. And another reason here is that if a person during ghusl, we have to gargle our mouth and nose. If he does this whilst fasting, he'll have to do if he delays this after Fajr time starts, then there's a possibility he could swallow the water, and then that will break his fast as well. So that's another reason that the bath should be made before Fajr time starts. To use toothpaste or tooth powder to clean one's teeth. Remember, it is permitted to use a miswak of any permissible fresh branch or root. So miswak is sunnah. Now you might say, what about the toothpaste which have the miswak flavor? So it's the same ruling. We can use toothpaste. We can use it. It's allowed. It doesn't mean you have to or you should. Remember this. It doesn't mean you have to or you should. There's a few things to bear in mind. Number one is before the fast begins, we should clean our mouth properly. We know this. Now, when fasting, we have odor that comes in our mouth because of the hunger of the stomach. And the Prophet ﷺ has told us Allah loves this. Allah loves this even more than musk and a beautiful fragrance. Allah loves this even more than this because this smell is because of hunger for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now this is why Imam Shafi rahmatullahi says after midday to even do miswak is makruh. According to them, even to do miswak is makruh because you're getting rid of this odor. Another hadith, when Musa alayhi salatu wasalam was told to fast 30 days, that Allah will give him the Tawrat. He fasted 30 days and he made the miswak. Allah said, fast 10 more days because that smell now has gone. Then Allah gave him the Tawrat. This is another instance as well. So to have some odor, it's okay. But if the odor is so excessive, then we can use a miswak. We can rinse our mouth. There's no problem in that. To use toothpaste or mouthwash or anything like this, because of the flavoring and because of putting something in your mouth and a great possibility and chance for you to swallow that, then it'll become makruh. One, because you're getting rid of that smell Allah loves, and two, because you are putting your fast in danger. You're putting your fast in danger. So no one's going to say to you it's haram or it's not allowed, but these are actions which we should try to refrain from to protect our fast. Remember, when we are fasting or any action, we don't want to do borderline. That this is enough and that's it, khalas. Because you could fall into haram or you could fall into breaking your action or missing it completely because of one simple action that you could stay away from. It's very important for us to protect all our actions, whether it's salah, whether it's fasting, any action we do, try to do extra to protect that action. Another thing is to complain of hunger and thirst, especially, subhanAllah, when the food is out, time of iftar is close. Our mothers and sisters are in the kitchens and they are making the food and things, and then we're complaining, oh, I want this today and I don't want this, and all of these things, we hear these things very often. So to complain of hunger and thirst, this is also disliked because this is for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Just like in Hajj or Umrah, we shouldn't complain of the tiredness or the heat or the crowd and these things to one another because this is for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. To take water too much up the nostrils when cleaning the nose, whether you're doing it in wudu or just you're woken up and you're cleaning your mouth and your nose, or whether in ghusl as well, to be careful because if the water passes the soft bone, the high chance it will go down your throat and your fast will break as well. That's why to gargle more than necessary as well. So some people when doing wudu, mashallah, it's like they're doing ghusl in the gargling. So we should be moderate, have moderation in our actions. Another thing, to quarrel, argue, or use filthy or indecent words. So people have a habit of swearing. It's time to cut down now as well. Yeah, some people who have anger problems, it's time to control your anger. Fasting, I know it makes people, especially men, it makes them hungry and angry, become hungry. Yeah, so this is something we need to control, because fast Ramadan is a month of patience and sabr. So to control our temper, control ourselves, not falling into arguments. And if someone argues with us, the Prophet ﷺ said, say, Ana sa'im, I am fasting. I am fasting. That's khalas, just end that argument, whether it's a Muslim or non-Muslim or in the home. Sometimes what happens is we've had a busy day at work or outside the house, we come home, and then the children and then the wife and lots of things are happening. We're tired from all of that, close to iftar time. Very easily, people start arguing. Then we come to the masjid and the kids are running about, and you know people usually come to the masjid in Ramadan who don't usually come. So someone might have some habits that might irritate us. So we have to have sabr. Sabr in the house, sabr in the workplace, sabr in the masjid. Ramadan and fasting is a month of sabr, and we will all be tested. If Allah and the Prophet ﷺ tell us Ramadan is for sabr, then we will definitely be tested. There'll be somewhere where we will be tested with sabr. So we have to control our tongue. This is a big way of us losing out on the reward in fasting. So this is why to backbite, to tell a lie, to swear, our own sinful acts. But when one is not fasting, it is sinful. Therefore, when fasting, it becomes even worse. So not just during fasting as well, even at night. Some people, after Taraweeh, they will have long gatherings outside the masjid, in the homes, especially now when the nights are longer. And on the weekends, we are free as well. We don't need to wake up for work or nothing like this. We have the rest of the day to relax. So people will talk and talk and talk. And subhanAllah, if not lying or swearing or backbiting, we are wasting our breath. Rather, we could be doing dhikr, making tilawah of the Quran, making dua, doing something useful. This is why ulama mentioned, if you can't do anything, go to sleep. This doesn't mean we sleep for the entire time of fasting. But sleeping meaning if you can't do anything good, then at least don't do sin or waste your time. At least sleeping physically, you're getting some benefit as well, and you're staying away from sin. So some of our youngsters would use this excuse that our teacher said go to sleep. That doesn't mean you miss your fajr and your dhuhr and your asr and you wake up at iftar time and things. No, that's not the case. Does anyone have any questions before we move forward? Because the next section will be about those things which break the fast and those things which we might think break but don't break. So it's kind of splitting. The first was the makruh, the mustahabbat, and the intention, and what is fasting and things. Everyone okay? Or no? I hope everyone had their dinner as well. So they're delaying my dinner. I don't think me and Molana have ate. We've been here since Asr, so.
Can you explain that?
Yes.
Because if they don't know that what is makruh is.
Makruh means disliked, so things we should stay away from. Okay, if you were to do it, it might not be sinful, but it can lead you to doing sin or doing wrong. Or if you keep doing it, it could also break your action that you're doing, possibly, depending on what it is. So it's something we stay away from. What is the criteria for something to be invalidated? Invalidated meaning something that breaks our fast. So we have a criteria. We have a criteria. Anything with a precipitable body can invalidate a person's fast. Something which is a body, yeah? Something which is like, for example, a piece of bread, or a piece of date, something which is physical. I was going to ask Maulana, you should have some tea and biscuits, but mashallah, Maulana has read my mind. I don't know if anyone wants to make the tea, but we've got the cupcakes. This is actually a perfect moment for this, because we're talking about anything which has a body, physical body. So we have this cupcake, a physical body, yeah? Subhanallah. Bismillah. So there are two things. If it has a physical body, yeah, and it reaches the stomach or the brain, it reaches the stomach or the brain, and it enters the body via the mouth, nose, or the back private part of the body. These are the normal channels the normal ways where things can enter the body. Either your mouth, number one, very easy, through your mouth, through your nose. Why through your nose? Because this leads to your stomach. Yeah. So we will talk about eye drops and ear drops as well. This comes later on. So your nose and your mouth, and also from the rear passage, the back private part of a person, if something is inserted through there, which has a tangible body, physical body, and these things reach the stomach or they reach the brain, your fast will break. This is the criteria for this. This is the criteria. And also body doesn't just mean like something I can touch like this. Even for example, smoke as well, because it's a body, it's an entity. Person inhales smoke very closely, goes into your system. This will also break the fast. So invalidators are of two types. Now, now we've understood what can invalidate or break the fast. Now, when it breaks the fast, it has an effect. It has an effect. If it breaks the fast, you will have to make qada. You'll have to make up for that fast after Ramadan. But some things, when they break the fast, you also have to do kafara as well. Not everything you have to do kafara. Not everything. Everything you have to do qada, you have to make up. Only some things you have to do kafara. So we'll discuss that as well. So number one, if it breaks the fast, we'll have to do qada. Number two, will it do kafara or not? Kafara means, qada means to make up. Qada means to make up. So for example, I miss Isha Salah. If someone misses Isha Salah today, they have to make up tomorrow or afterwards, whenever, to perform Isha Salah, if it's out of the time. So if the fast is broken or someone's missed the fast, you have to do qada, you have to make up for that outside of Ramadan, because obviously the next day you have another fast. So you can't make up for today's fast tomorrow, because tomorrow is a separate fast. Every fast is individual. So you'll have to make up after Ramadan. That's qada, to make up. Now kafara means penalty. A penalty you have to do. So either fasting or feeding or paying. We'll discuss that later. That is kafara. And kafara is not for all the time. It's for certain actions, which we will discuss as well. So first we'll talk about those things which break the fast and you only have to make up. You don't need to do kafara. You only have to make up after Ramadan. So these are things we have to be mindful of and to remember, because it can happen to us, it can happen to someone else, and someone else asks, and then we get all the phone calls. Many times it happens to us, Maulana, that we thought Fajr time was starting this time, but I read the calendar wrong and I was kept on eating and eating and eating, or I was following my mobile app, and I looked at the masjid timetable and it was different. The mobile app setting was different. Very often this happens. So this is why we have to be mindful of what we do. Eating and drinking. So if we eat and drink, this will break our fast. Very simple. We know if we're going to eat and we're going to drink, it's going to break our fast. But if you do it accidentally, yeah, accidentally, we eating or we drinking, our fast will break. Or forgetfully, we forget that we are fasting. The first few fasts, very easy can happen. We forget we are fasting, we wake up in the morning and we go to the fridge and we start having breakfast like normal, and we think, oh, I'm not fasting, it's a normal day. This will break the fast. This will break the fast, but you won't need to do kafara. You'll have to do qada. You'll have to do qada. Someone might think Maghrib time has started. The clock with the watch was wrong. They think Maghrib time has started. They start to do iftar. But they realize, oh no, there's still 5 minutes, or there's 10 minutes. So the fast will be broken and they'll have to make up afterwards, because there is still time, they have to keep fasting. Another one is, someone thinks that Fajr time hasn't started and they keep eating. They keep eating, like we mentioned, they keep eating. Fajr time started, now we need to rinse our mouth, we need to brush our teeth, we need to take our medicine. And they do all of that, and 15-20 minutes into Fajr has already happened. So the fast won't start from the very beginning. Fast will not start, because they were already eating and thinking Fajr time hasn't started. So they'll have to make qada, but not kafara. You'll have to make qada, you have to make up, but you won't have to pay a penalty afterwards. Another question you might ask, I think it might come later on, is sometimes the person just picks something up and eats it. Yeah? Remember here where it says forgetfully eating and drinking, the intention is thinking the fast has broke. Thinking the fast broke. Yeah, he thinks the fast is broken. Give you an example. A person eats forgetfully. He wakes up, he starts eating. If you forgetfully eat, not knowing you're fasting, and then you remember, and then you stop there, and you carry on like normal. You stop eating. Oh, I'm fasting. I leave what I'm eating, and your fast will not be broken then, because you've stopped. But if you think, oh, my fast is broken anyway, and I carry on eating, then this is what I'm saying. Thinking the fast is broken. This is the difference. This is a difference. Yeah. Sometimes very easily before iftar we sit, we start pouring drinks for one another, we start putting the samosas and the pakoras on the plate, and then automatically you just go and eat. Because you're used to doing that. So your fast will not break if you forgetfully do it, but after forgetfully then you remember and you carry on eating, think, oh, my fast is broken, now what's the point? That's then it's broken. Then it's broken and you have to make qada, not kafar. You have to make up for it. You don't have to do a penalty. You understand? This is the difference. Other invalidators that necessitate a qada only. Yeah. The first one was regarding eating and drinking. This is with regards to the mouth and the throat. You might not be eating and drinking. Someone swallows a pebble or other item that people wouldn't typically eat. So people don't usually eat pebbles or stones, but if you swallow this, your fast is broken because it's a body which has entered your stomach through your mouth. And remember, we said the criteria is it has to have a body, reach your stomach or your brain through the mouth, or through the nose, or through the rear passage. Number two is swallowing water by accident when gargling for wudu or ghusl. Yeah? When gargling for wudu or ghusl, water goes in. Oh, I'm fasting today. Your fast will break, but you won't need to do kafara. Because obviously your intention wasn't to break the fast. It happened by accident. This is exception of water that remains in the mouth. So you might say, I've done wudu, I've done ghusl. We have some moisture in our mouth. Normal. We can't get rid of all the moisture because we're not getting a tissue or a towel to dry our mouth. Our mouth is moist all the time. So that is exception. That is exception. That doesn't mean we leave water in our mouth and hold it there and think that's an exception. It's just the moisture that remains after rinsing your mouth. If you swallow blood that exits from the gums and is more than the saliva. So some people ask this question, especially when they go to the dentist, will my fast break or not? So we're not talking about injection here. We're talking about if you go to a dentist and some blood comes out for whatever reason, if that blood, you swallow that blood, if you swallow that blood, and it's lots of blood that if you were to spit, you would see blood in the spit. If the blood is a few drops, that's not the case. If it's changed the color of the saliva and it's mainly blood, then that's what we're talking about. And you swallow that, then your fast will break, but you will not need to make kafara. You will have to only make up afterwards. Swallowing toothpaste or mouthwash, which we mentioned. So if this happens, whether it's intentional or unintentional, your fast will break. So obviously you're not going to swallow toothpaste or mouthwash intentionally. It will be unintentional, more or less. So then your fast will break, but you will not need to do kafara. Vomiting and thereafter thinking that the fast is broken, to deliberately vomit again. So someone vomits, the vomit comes out, and you think the fast has broken, you're feeling a bit sick, and then you put your finger in your mouth to vomit again, then your fast will break, but kafara will not be necessary. Here it's because you're thinking the fast is broken. If a person knows my fast isn't broken and then puts his fingers in his mouth to vomit, your fast will break and you might need to even give a kafara then as well, which we will discuss is coming, inshallah. Further on, so we talked about the eating and drinking, then we talked about the mouth and the throat, now the nose. Yeah? Invalidators that necessitate a qada only, the nose. Water used to clean the nose for wudu or ghusl and reaches the throat or the brain. So before we talked about gargling, and now we're talking about cleaning the nose. If you use water to clean your nose and it go past the soft bone here, so there's a high chance it go down your throat and it go towards your head, and you feel this as well. Sometimes you feel pain in your head if you do this too much, and that will break your Fast, but you will not need to give kafara. Inhaling any medicine in the nostrils. So someone might have a nose spray. This will break your fast. This will break your fast. Yeah. Inhaling smoke by one's doing, on the condition that one's body doesn't benefit from it. So inhaling smokes, for example, you're walking past someone who is smoking, by one's doing. So you've lit, for example, a bakhur or a agalbatti or incense or something, or a fire you put on. You did it yourself, the smoke comes and you inhale that smoke and your body doesn't benefit anything from it. Then your fast will break. But only qada, not kafara. So if you walk past someone and someone is smoking and you inhale a little bit, your fast will not break because obviously you didn't do it. You should still be mindful of that, but that won't break your fast because it wasn't by your doing. Yes. So a good question as well. For example, people go to the gym, you have a sauna, steam room, these things we should avoid as well. If you're inhaling smoke or steam is the same thing as well. Inhaling steam as well, especially sometimes there are vapor in the steam and things which benefit you. So that's a different question because that's a different aspect here because that them things might be benefiting you. Here it doesn't benefit you. That will break your fast though. That will break your fast. This is why we need to be mindful. Sometimes in our bathrooms it gets really steamy as well. Open the window, thing like this. Obviously we don't make our bathroom into a sauna usually, but to be mindful not to go into an environment as well, to put ourselves. Some people, we know they go to the gym in Ramadan because they paid membership. They'll use the sauna and steam room or the jacuzzi or whatever because they paid for that month. They might not train, but they'll relax. We need to be mindful. If you're going into a steam room or anything like this, or swimming, even people go and water goes into our mouth and nose, this will break your fast as well. Yeah, so perfume, so any body as well, it has a body. So same with inhaler. Inhaler is a body, isn't it? Yeah. So any body which goes into through our nose. So that's why another good question, sprays, good, something which many of us might be afflicted by. After coming out of the shower, we use deodorant or body spray and things. So we can use them, but be mindful not to inhale that or not to spray so much that, especially some of these sprays are quite thick or quite strong, the smell. So be mindful, do it in a ventilated area, do it a little bit or move away as soon as you've done it. So things like this to be mindful of as well. What necessitates a qada and a kafara? So we talked about those things which only break the fast. We don't need to make up for it. Now this time we have to make up for it, but this time we have to make up and also pay a penalty as well. What the penalty is, we'll discuss later. So in principle, if a person purposely breaks his fast in Ramadan without a valid shari'i reason, so what's important is to have an intention to break the fast. You by purpose of breaking your fast, and you don't have a reason. If a person is ill, a valid reason, something is affecting him so much, he has to eat, he has to break his fast, that's different. But he doesn't have a valid reason, number one, and he breaks it intentionally, number two. Through eating, drinking, or engaging in intimacy, then he will have to make up the broken fast after Ramadan and also observe kafara. So he'll have to do qada and kafara, he'll have to give a penalty as well. So keep this in mind, this general rule, to purposely break the fast without a reason, either through eating, drinking, or engaging in intimacy. So how to fulfill a kafara? First, what broke the fast before? What do we discuss? Two things. One, he has to have a body and he has to enter through the mouth, through the nose, or either from the rear. Sometimes medicine they have to give you through that way. So even that will break the fast. But what will necessitate a kafara if it's done by purpose, intention to break the fast without a reason, and it's through eating, drinking, or either fulfilling your desires. So how to fulfill a kafara? How to fulfill a kafara is commonly known to fast 60 days consecutively, meaning one after the other to fast 60 days. If 60 days of fast are not kept consecutively, a person will have to start all over again. So, for example, if a person does 59 days and he misses the 60th day, he'll have to start from number one again. And this is kafara on top of the qada. So if he's done broken one fast, he'll have to do one fast and 60 days, 61 days. If he's done three fasts broken, then it's not kafara, 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 and 180 days. Remember, one kafara per Ramadan. Okay? One kafara per Ramadan. Makes it a bit easier for us to understand. So if in one Ramadan you broke multiple fasts by purpose, for example, 5 fasts, you have to keep 5 qada and then 60 as the kafara for that Ramadan, consecutive. So it'll have to be all consecutive, 65 days. Yeah. But if he's broken one this year and one last year, you have to do one kafara for that and extra one for the qada, 61, and 61 this year. So then it multiplies, it increases. So now another question, note if a woman experiences menstruation during these days, due to which she was not able to fast, it should not be regarded as discontinuity because she can't fast. For example, she's kept 20 fasts, then she has 10 days, she can't fast. And then after that time finishes, it doesn't mean she has a few extra days. As soon as she can fast, she will carry on. And she will carry on and carry on until 60 have been kept. Whether that takes 2 months, 3 months, as long as 60 are kept, without unnecessary break. She's only broken the consecutiveness because she couldn't fast. Where she could fast, she fasted. This also comes to in Ramadan, a woman who is on her menstruation, she cannot fast, but she has to make up for them fast afterwards. Likewise, a woman who is pregnant or breastfeeding, she has to make up afterwards. But for Salah, this is not the case. A woman, if she's going to postnatal bleeding or menstruation, in her Salah she doesn't make up. Otherwise, she'll be have all her life she will be reading Salah. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has uplifted this obligatory action at that time. But for fasting, she has to make up. Number two, if you cannot fast, if this option is, this is the option afterwards, if it's not an option at the start. Some people want to feed straight away because it's easy to give money rather than doing anything. So first we have to fast. If for whatever reason we cannot keep 60 fasts, and then obviously the qada as well, in any time of the year, even in the winter when the fasts are really short, then to feed 60 poor people 2 meals for a day. So 60 people to feed them 2 meals for one day, or feed one person for 60 days. It works out to be the same. To feed one person 2 meals for 60 days. Yeah. It should be noted that the above mentioned is the order in which a person will have to give his kafara. Only if a person is incapable of observing 60 consecutive days of fast due to an illness. And the illness is not such that I have a temperature or fever or something. It's where there's no hope left for recovery. He's really old and weak and ill, and there's no hope for that person to recover or gain strength again, then the feeding is there. Otherwise, if any time in his life he has the ability to keep 60 fasts and the qada, he has to do it. He has to do it. Or old age. One may fulfill kafara through the second method. So the second is only if the first is you are incapable of doing that. So qada first, then kafara. A person will do qada of the fast he broke and thereafter start the 60-day kafara. Now another question some people ask is, for example, we've never fasted before. Some people, they don't have a habit from when they're young, and later on they get some understanding and they start fasting. So they say, oh, we've never fasted before, so do you have to do kafara? You won't have to do kafara, but you will have to do qada. Because you never kept them in the first place. You never broke them in the first place. So you will not have to do kafara. But because you never kept them, you will still have to make up for them. You will still have to do qada. So a person will do qada first. And just another thing to remember, subhanAllah, that the ulama have mentioned that if a person was to fast all his life outside of Ramadan, all his life apart from Ramadan, it cannot be the same as one fast in Ramadan. That's how much reward and ajr Allah gives you in Ramadan. For example, one salah in Makkah, you can't make up for that one salah anywhere else in the world. Only in Makkah you will get multiplied 100,000. So because Ramadan is there, the fasting has been multiplied so much as well. Therefore, in total, he will fast 61 days. 1 day qada for the broken fast and 60 days consecutive fast as kafara. Kafara means penalty. You have to pay a price. So we talked about those things which break the fast. Now we'll talk and discuss about those things which don't break the fast, but some people might think they break the fast. So they're very similar to previous, but it might differ slightly. Do we have any questions with regards to what breaks the fast before we carry on? Or qada or kafara? Everyone okay? Alhamdulillah. Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu reports that the Prophet ﷺ said, whoever forgets he is fasting and eats or drinks, let him complete his fast, for it is Allah Jalla Jalaluhu who fed him and gave him given him to drink. So meaning if someone unintentionally eats, he doesn't know he is fasting, he forgets, and he eats or drinks anything, then he remembers he should stop there, or someone reminds him he should stop there, and his fast isn't broken. This is what the hadith is telling us. Another hadith tells us, I'm not sure if it's coming, no, it's not coming, that if you see a fasting person eating or drinking, let him eat, let him drink. And once he realizes, he realizes. Sometimes we grab the hand straight away. The Prophet ﷺ said, Allah will give him food and drink to, that's his risk that's meant to reach him. We can warn them, but that doesn't mean we have to as well. So if he's eating and drinking, sometimes we can turn a blind eye and he can realize later on. Once he's finished and telling you actually fasting. Actions that don't invalidate the fast. So these things do not break the fast. They do not break the fast. Swallowing one's own saliva. Remember, one's own saliva, very important. Husband and wife, kiss and saliva's change, your fast is broken. Fast is broken. So one's own saliva, yeah, or by any other means if saliva is exchanged also. And the wetness that remains after washing the mouth. Yeah. So wetness, remember we said when you gargle your mouth will be a bit wet afterwards, isn't it? So if this happens, then it doesn't break your fast. Sniffing up mucus, even if it's descends in the throat. So obviously mucus, snot and bog is coming from your nose or mucus on your chest and things like this. The person swallows this, even though it might be like a body, it doesn't break your fast because it's already from your body. It's already in your body. It's not something from outside going in your body. It's already in your body. Inhaling smoke or dust unintentionally. So you walk past someone smoking, you inhale that, it doesn't break your fast. It doesn't mean we stand with people who are smoking, but it doesn't break your fast. Or dust, yeah? A wind might come and you might inhale dust, it doesn't break your fast because it's not done intentionally. Yeah? Starting the fast in the state of major ritual impurity. For example, someone woken up and he needs to do ghusl, or husband and wife met, need to do ghusl, time of Fajr has started. Your fast will begin as long as you don't do anything which breaks your fast. It will begin, but you will still have to do ghusl. It will not affect the fast. Injection, blood transfusion, kidney dialysis, glucose or saline drip. So remember with the injection is if an injection doesn't go directly in your stomach. Remember we talked before it reaches your stomach? Because the injection goes into your veins, goes into your bloodstream, goes into your body, doesn't go into your stomach. If it goes directly into your stomach, someone has diabetes and they have to take an injection sometime into the stomach, then that will break your fast. But because this is going into your bloodstream, an injection, a blood transfusion, kidney dialysis, glucose or saline drip, this will not break your fast. How ulama have mentioned if people take glucose drips for energy, this will be makruh as well. Even though in itself the principles, it won't break your fast because it's going into your bloodstream, but it will be makruh because your intention was that I don't feel the effect of fasting because you wanted strength through the glucose drips. Sometimes in hot countries, when a person is dehydrated, they have to go on a glucose drip, and that goes into the blood system, and that's so they don't fall into dehydration and it doesn't, affect them physically as well. So that might be a different situation. Rather here, if you just injecting ourselves with glucose all day long, we won't feel the effect of the fasting. Your fast will not break, but it will be makruh because your intention was for strength. Actions that also don't invalidate fast. Blood test. Person does a blood test, doesn't break your fast. Some people ask, it'll break your wudu, maybe if the blood is coming out, it won't break your fast. Or cupping, or any form of blood extraction. But cupping is makruh during fasting. The Prophet has mentioned this. Why? Because it will weaken your body. It will weaken your body unnecessarily. You could do cupping afterwards. But you can do it. If you feel it's not going to affect you, it's allowed to do. Tooth extraction, subject to not swallowing the blood or medicine. So you can have an injection in your mouth, uh, anesthesia, something which will numb your gums, it's fine. We talked about injection. Blood, but if the blood, you swallow any medicine they give, then that may break your fast like we discussed before. Inhaling air through continuous positive airway pressure. So if someone puts an oxygen mask on, it won't break your fast. Inhaling oxygen as long as it's not combined with any other substance. Sometimes the oxygen mask, in the hospital, they have nitrous oxide with it as well. They have other gases as well. That will break your fast because the other gases are coming in your body. If you just oxygen, like we have in the air, that is fine, nothing wrong with that. Miswak or toothbrush, meaning the toothbrush without any toothpaste or anything on it. Toothpaste should be avoided for risk of being swallowed. But even if it has toothpaste and it's not swallowed, then your fast is not broken. Swimming or submerging body in water without swallowing water. You can swim, it's fine, but if you swallow water, then your fast will break. Tasting food, providing not swallowed. This is generally ulama have written this for women or people who are making food for large groups of people for iftar and things like this. And just to taste the taste of the food and then spit it out or rinse your mouth, not to swallow. If you swallow, it'll break. If you're just tasting on your tongue and you spit it out, and that's only to see if the food has been made okay. And that's if it's needed. It doesn't mean we do this because we're feeling hungry. That's wrong. Yeah, or if you swallow it, it will break your fast. Nicotine patches. Nicotine patches, some people use these during fasting because they are addicted to smoking and other things. So your fast will not break. Your fast will not break. Another thing to be mindful of is even shisha and hookah, these things will break your fast. Some people say, oh, we don't swallow this, it doesn't go into your lungs, it doesn't go into your stomach and things like this. But it will break your fast. It will break your fast. And if you do this intentionally, then your qada will have to be done as well. Vaping as well. Vaping is included in that. Vaping as well. So rules pertaining to vomiting. So vomiting is a bit of you have different situations where a person may vomit. So one is intentional, one is unintentional. Intentional, we look at intentional first. Intentional is if someone puts his finger down his throat, does something to cause vomiting. If it is a mouthful, the fast will be invalid, it will break. If it is not a mouthful, the fast will be okay. It will be intact.
Even if it's intentional.
Yes. Remember this, we're not swallowing, are we? What do we say what breaks the fast? If it's a body that reaches the stomach or the brain through the mouth, nose, or from behind. So it's not swallowing. Swallowing is a different issue. This is intentionally breaking. If it's intentionally and a mouthful, the fast will break. If it's not a mouthful, the fast will be okay. Yeah? Unintentional in all circumstances, whether it's a mouthful or not a mouthful, will be okay. We're not talking about swallowing here, we're talking about it's coming out. Just two general rules. With wudu, is what comes out will break the wudu. With fasting, is what goes in will break the fast. So if we bleed, we pass wind, we go to a toilet, we vomit, this will break the wudu. It's coming out of the body. But if it's going in the body, that's a fast. Just remember these two rules. Generally. Yeah? In any of the above scenarios, if a person deliberately swallows vomit back down the throat, the fast will break. Even if it's little or a lot. If he swallows it. Now sometimes what happens to people, vomit is coming up. It's reached the mouth, and they think if it comes out, my fast is broken, so they swallow it. Some people do this, they swallow it. They should let it come out. It won't break the fast. You swallowing it now will break the fast. You swallowing it will now break the fast. This is the difference. I'm not sure if it's mentioned later on. How do we also sometimes we might vomit a little bit here, then a little bit later, a little bit there, a little bit there in 2-3 different times, So if you gather that together and it's equivalent to a mouthful, it will be a mouthful. And what is a mouthful? When you can't hold it back. That's class as a mouth. Obviously, we don't take a cup or a jug to measure exact measurements. So ulama say when you can't hold it back and it has to come out, that's a mouthful. So these things to remember. Abu Sa'id al-Khudri radiallahu ta'ala narrated that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, 3 things do not break the fast of a fasting person: cupping, vomiting, and the wet dream. So being in a spiritually impure state, vomiting, obviously vomiting less than a mouthful, and unintentional. If it's unintentional, it has to be less than a mouthful. Intentional, more than a mouthful will break the fast without swallowing, and cupping, as we mentioned before as well. So I think I've discussed how does one decide when vomiting is a mouthful. So the definition of mouthful is that which one cannot hold back in one's mouth without difficulty. So when you have to, vomit and take it out of your mouth, you can't hold it back. Question: a little amount of vomit went up my throat then as a reflux action. Reflux action meaning my body just swallowed it itself, not intentionally. It went back down. I felt I had no control over it. It was my fast break. What do we think? Will our fast break or not? No. Why not? It wasn't, but he swallowed it. Yes. Let's see what the answer is. No, your fast will not break. Your body sometimes reacts on it. You swallowed it unintentionally. That's fine. Are we okay with this? Frequently asked questions. Can I swallow bits of food left between the teeth? So we never had enough time to brush our teeth properly, and we're performing our Fajr Salah, and we have some bits in our mouth. Another question, I don't think it mentions it here, but in Maghrib we have our fruit, and we have our samosas, and we have our dates, and then we perform Maghrib Salah, and then we have bits in our mouth. Does this break our Salah or not? A question there. If we have anything in our mouth and we swallow that, any food in our mouth and we swallow that whilst performing Salah, our Salah is broken. Salah is broken. Our Salah is broken. If it's bits in our mouth, we shouldn't swallow this. We should obviously clean our mouth before. And if it happens, then you take it out with your finger or however. Can I swallow bits of food left between the teeth? So here the answer is, this is at suhoor time. We made suhoor, sahri. Now it's fajr time, started either before you perform salah or whenever you've realized we have some food in my mouth. So what's the question? Remember, this is between the teeth, yeah? If the particle is smaller than a chickpea in size, small piece, then the fast will remain valid. If you swallow this and it's stuck in your teeth, it remains valid. However, if it is something equal to or bigger than a chickpea, the fast will be invalid. Only qada is necessary, not kafara. If food left between the teeth is taken out of the mouth and then swallowed, whether it's a little or a lot, it'll break the fast. Now you've put it in, it wasn't already there. So you've seen something, oh, you should have swallowed this before. It was nice as suhoor time. No, then it will break your fast, whether it's small or big. The first one it was already there. And if it was smaller than a chickpea, then it's fine. If it's chickpeas or bigger size, then it will break the fast. Only qada, not kafara. Another question, do applying eardrops or eye drops break one's fast? This is a very common question people ask. No, eardrops or eye drops will not break the fast. the fast will remain valid. However, with regards to eardrops, if the eardrum is perforated, meaning someone's eardrum is torn, yeah, is torn, then this will break the fast. Because then it doesn't stay in the ear, then it goes into your body, can reach your brain or down your throat as well. Sometimes people have this question when we apply eye drops and then taste some taste in our mouth. It happens. Someone puts surma in, you can sometimes feel the effect in your mouth as well, or other things as well. So remember, we said it has to reach through the mouth, through the nose, and through the ear. These are the three passages. Yeah, has to reach the stomach or the brain. If it goes any other way, and you might even feel a little bit in your mouth, whatever, it won't break the fast because it's not gone through the mouth; it's gone through the eyes or it's gone through the ears, whatever. You might feel a little bit of taste or smell or something like this. It will not break the fast. So if people need to take eye drops or ear drops, this is fine. Does a nasal spray break one's fast? If a person uses a nasal spray, his fast will become nullified, it will break. We talked about this before, inhaling medicine. But the solution to this is consult a doctor and ask whether the same medicine can be applied by means of a cotton swab to the inner lining of the nose. Yeah. So if it's in the inner lining of the nose and it doesn't go beyond the soft bone, that's fine. But if the spray is such that it opens the airways into your nose and things like this, then that will break the fast. In this manner, the medication will not traverse beyond the nasal tissue. This is an area that the medication can be applied without it breaking your fast. If you can just apply a bit to your nose, that's okay. If it goes beyond, then that's not okay. Your question, say for the question 4. Aerosols, deodorants and perfumes. Aerosol sprays have a defined body due to the vapors contained therein. If one is not cautious while applying these sprays and it goes down the throat, it will break one's fast. If someone else is spraying and the vapors go down your throat while you do not intend to inhale it, then your fast will not break. Remember we mentioned before, if by your action you do it, if someone else's action you can't control. That still doesn't mean you stand next to these incidences. We try to avoid them as well. One should exercise caution in using any substance that may jeopardize one's fast. Yeah. So, meaning if you're going to use deodorant or perfume, then be careful. Use it a bit less. Use it in a ventilated area. Once you use it, move away. Things like this. Smoking. General principles: smoking cigarettes, shisha, and other similar items will break one's fast. Qada and kafara both are necessary. They are both necessary because the body you put through your mouth intentionally, and it goes down to your stomach, and it also benefits the body. Yeah, there's some sort of benefit. Whereas before we talked, if you inhale intentionally, you inhale, yeah, by your action, and you inhale this, but your body doesn't benefit the smoke, then only qada, not kafara. Benefiting the body could mean either a little buzz or any kind of benefit your body reaches. It reaches your body, sorry. Rules pertaining to asthma pumps. This is another question. The use of using an asthma pump while fasting will invalidate the fast, and qada will be necessary, not kafara. If a person cannot fast at all without using an asthma pump, he may use it and perform qada of those days when he can fast without having to use an asthma pump. So what should a person do? A person should begin his fast, and only when he needs to use asthma pump, use that asthma pump. However, if a person is incapable of performing qada later, then he should pay fidya, the amount that is to be paid for sadaqatul fitr for every missed fast. So obviously this is if a person cannot fast at all because of his asthma. So that rule is also for those people due to illness who cannot fast, which we will discuss. Now, some people, usually when we go over this and we have a different gathering, some people say, oh, but Sheikh, some asthma pumps don't go to the stomach, some just open the airways in the lungs, which is what the doctors say. Now the thing is, because there are particles in there, it's gone through your mouth, there's a high chance, there's a possibility of it reaching your stomach. So for that, ulama say you will make qada, sorry, you will make up for that fast, no kafara. But for the remainder of that fast, carry on fasting. Carry on fasting just in case that it hasn't broken your fast. Doesn't mean once I do my inhaler, then I start eating. Any of the situations where your fast may break, it doesn't mean then you start eating as normal. Of course, if it's a woman who's on a menses and the fast breaks for strength, it's fine, she can eat. That's fine, no problem at all. Or if someone needs it because they fall ill or something, that's different. But if you can, then carry on like normal. It's the respect of Ramadan and the fast itself. But here in this instance, where it's a particular inhaler just for the lungs and doesn't have anything else, sometimes people argue, these doctors, they start arguing with this in the gathering. I have had this as well. So ulama then mention as a caution, carry on fasting, also do qada afterwards as well, just in case. Does an injection break one's fast? Does it break fast?
Depends on the type of injection. When they stay the stomach or
If you go straight to your stomach, then it will. If it in normal through your veins or other parts, it won't break your fast. So no, generally it won't break the fast, yeah? What are the scenarios women may face in Ramadan in relation to menstruation and what should they do? We'll just quickly go through this. Aisha radhiyallahu anha mentions that we passed through this period of menstruation and we were ordered to complete the fast later, and we were not ordered to complete the prayers, the salah, like we mentioned. Very important for us to educate our women and tell them as well. A woman may experience the following three situations in the month of Ramadan. Ramadan begun and she's already in a state of a menses. So then she doesn't need to fast. Carry on eating is fine. But if she missed them fast, then she has to make up later. Number two, Ramadan started and the menstruation starts during the day. If it starts during the day and she's already in a state of fasting, then what should she do? She should carry on. She can eat, that's fine, but she will have to make up for the fast later on. Yeah. So a woman may experience the following three situations in Ramadan. Menstruation starts during the day. She must eat in a manner that no fasting person sees her. So it's incorrect for her to openly start eating and things. She should try to eat in a manner where she's not she's not disrespecting Ramadan. Yeah? It won't be haram or anything like that. It is incorrect to refrain from eating. So some people might think, oh, I'll still act like I'm fasting even though I'm not fasting just for respect. That's wrong. She should still eat. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells her to eat. The Prophet told her to eat. That's fine. Eat. But eat in a manner where you're not disrespecting Ramadan as well. And at the same time, you're not showing, some people might think, why is she not fasting for? Some people who might not understand. So to be courteous of this. The third situation is menstruation stops during the day. So she might start the day while she's on her menses, then midday it stops, she's clean. What should she do? So must conduct herself like a fasting person, abstain from eating and drinking and any intimacy for the remainder of the day. So even though that fast isn't done, because obviously she started while she was on her menses, the fast she'll still have to make up. But for the rest of the day, she should carry on as if she is fasting. Does a nursing woman need to fast? So someone who is breastfeeding a child, does she need to fast? So if the mother fears that her or her child's health will be endangered because of her fasting, so if her health will be deteriorated or the child will be affected, the milk will be affected, then she'll be excused from fasting that day. I will have to do qada after Ramadan. For the same reason, a pregnant woman also. Someone who is in the early stage of pregnancy might be able to fast. Someone who is heavily pregnant, it might be difficult for her to fast. Then she has to assess her health and see if it's going to affect her. And if she does have to miss them, that's fine, no problem. But afterwards, she has to make up just qada, no kafara. Does the qada have to be performed immediately after Ramadan? Another question. We have to do it straight away or when? So no, it's not necessary to do it straight after Ramadan. However, it is recommended to complete the missed fast as soon as possible after Ramadan. You have the full year, you can do it even later on, but before the next Ramadan, it is advisable, especially for the women as well, to make up the previous Ramadan's fast. We shouldn't delay them. Just like salah, if it becomes qada, we should not delay making it up, because when death will come, no one will know, and this is like a debt we have to pay Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, our actions. Now another question, can one combine the fast, the qada fast, with the 6 days of Shawwal? So we will fast inshallah. It is sunnah after Ramadan to fast 6 days of Shawwal. Yes, it is permissible. You can keep 6 for Shawwal and also for qada, same niyyah in the same fast. It's fine, no problem. However, there are differences of opinions, and it is better to do these fasts separately. Some say keep them separate, which is fine, and some say you can keep them together, no problem, but if you keep it separate, it is better. If doing so, one should principally make intention for doing qada, but also can make a secondary intention of fasting the days of Shawwal. So the first intention shouldn't be nafil fast. First intention should be fard. First intention should be fard. For example, a person comes to the masjid, Jamaat has started, he doesn't have time to perform Tahiyatul Masjid. His intention that I am doing fard, but within that, if I had time, I would have done Tahiyatul Masjid. He can make that intention within there. Because the fard is first and nafal is secondary. Yeah, so here you can't make nafal first, I'm doing Shawwal, and following is my qada. No. It's qada, and also the second intention is for the nafal fast, optional fast. Question, I've not fasted all my life. Do I need to make both kafara and qada? We've answered this before. No, only qada. Only qada is necessary to fast. Fasting on an aeroplane is another question. People fly, yeah, or travel during Ramadan. One does not need to fast because obviously you're a traveler, but is given immense reward for doing so. Now, when traveling, simple principle, wherever you are, whatever the time is there, you will follow that. For salah and for fasting. So you won't be where you are, you won't look at UK's time, you look at wherever you are in the air at that time. So a person will base his fast on the time zone of the area the plane is currently flying through. Use the flight magazine which has time zones of different countries at the back of the magazine. Ask the stewards, you can ask the time of Subh Sadiq, so when the dawn time will begin, roughly, and ensure that you have had suhoor prior to the dawn, as that is the beginning time for commencement of Fajr. The exempt, are we all up today? Everything? No questions? Happy, inshallah. The exempt. I didn't realize it'd take this long. I thought we'd fly through, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us that fasting has been made obligatory upon you. Yeah? But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also tells us that أيام معدودات فمن كان منكم مريضا وعلى سفر فعدة من أيام أخر. So those amongst you who are ill or who are on a journey traveling during them days, then an equal number of days are to be made up. So after Ramadan, to make up the days you have missed, if you have been traveling or you have an illness. So what is fidya? Fidya is the amount equivalent to sadaqatul fitr and is to be given in exchange of keeping fasts. But there are conditions for this. Some people straight away just give fidya. Before Ramadan begins, gives all their fidya. But there are conditions for fidya to be given. Not everyone can give fidya. For an ill person, what are the conditions? For an ill person, as long as the condition remains chronic, such a condition that a person cannot fast either in Ramadan or make it up later, he will continue giving fidya instead of fasting. So if the illness is such, whatever illness it is, if the illness or weakness or old age is such that even in the winter months, for example in December and January, the really short days, he cannot fast then, or he has no hope that I will ever recover or gain the strength to fast, ever, even 5-10 years from now, then he will keep giving fidya instead of fasting. Then for each fast, he will give the amount of sadaqatul fitr, 4 to 5 pounds, whatever the rate is, he will give for sadaqatul, for each fast as fidya. However, if the condition improves in the future to the point where a person is able to fast, then they will have to make up for the fasting that he missed, even if they give fidya. So let's say this year he couldn't fast. In the full year he couldn't fast. But 2-3 years from now, the person will give him fidya for 2 or 3 years. Yeah. Now in the future he gets really strong, he gets really fit, Allah gives him health, he can fast, and he has to make qada even if he give fidya for the previous years. And also, some people think I can give fidya for all the ones I missed. No, we have to make up. We have to make up. Fidya is only there when we cannot fast. Physically, we cannot fast in any time of the year or any time of our life. So at the end, he just mentioned some du'as. The Prophet ﷺ mentioned at the time of fasting, Allahumma laka sumtu wa ala rizqika aftartu. Oh Allah, I fasted for you, and with your sustenance I complete my fast. And then the dua, ذهب الظمأ وابتلت العروق وثبت الأجر إن شاء الله, that the thirst has gone, the veins are moistened, and the reward is established if Allah wills. This is the end of the slide. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant me and all the tawfiq and ability to maximize our benefit from the month of Ramadan and to abstain from those things we need to abstain from. And may this Ramadan be the best Ramadan of our lives, and may this have an impacting effect in our personal, individual and collective lives. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us all the tawfiq and ability. Ameen. Jazakumullah khairan. If anyone wants to ask any questions with regards to what we've discussed or anything in general, with Ramadan in particular, then feel free to ask. Jazakumullah for your patience. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant you the barakah of Ramadan, and may it fill your homes, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant you increase in your goodness. Ameen. Jazakumullah khairan. Subhanallah wa bihamdihi subhanallah. Nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta nastaghfiruka wa natubu. ठीक है खाना वाना